Hello everyone! Welcome back yet again to another episode of our Persona 5 Royal Adventure. I'm sure all of you know what's going on right now, so there won't be a long introduction this time. So sit back and enjoy the show. To recap what happened yesterday, we had two awakenings. Both Ryuji and An have awoken to their respective personas. So now, we have enough manpower to take down and infiltrate Kamoshida's palace. We meet up on the school rooftop and discuss our plans before entering the palace. All four of us agree to gather up supplies and weapons before entering. Morgana has an idea where we can get medicine from, and Ryuji has an idea where we can get weapons. So the following day, it's just us gathering the items we need. First off, the doctor, who is actually a few steps away from LeBlanc. She takes us in and we buy medicine off her. Not before she suspects something about us. But after that, we hear a noise on our way out. Someone is harassing her over some stuff. But before we can hear more, the man suspects someone to be behind the door. So we get out as soon as possible. The next day followed, and Ryuji takes us to a local gun store in Shibuya run by this old guy, who looks like he's an actual gangster. He didn't want to offer us anything because we don't know much about guns, but it didn't take long before we convinced him that we are enthusiasts of the American lifestyle. Note that we were only able to buy fake guns, like the guns that Ryuji gave us, the one that looks real. We spent a bit of our money there, buying not only guns, but other items as well, such as charms, melee weapons, and armor. After that, we got out of the store, and we have everything we need to start an infiltration. As soon as we meet up, it's time to start our plan. We entered the palace already in our gear and equipped with all our weapons from earlier. This is the section where we now choose An's codename. We threw around names hoping something would stick until An just came up with her own name. Enter. Before we enter the castle, Justine calls us by the door, telling us that Igor wishes to speak with us for a moment. This is where one of the most important systems in any Persona game is mentioned. Fusion. What is the fusion system, you might ask? Well, as the name suggests, it allows us to fuse our personas into one, granting us another persona which is relatively more stronger than the one before. And there are hundreds in different possibilities and combinations for personas to be made. For now, all we could do is sacrifice our main persona, but not to worry, we can also buy it back from the registry books, so we don't actually lose it. After that little lesson from Igor, we storm the castle and look around for the treasure, dodging different kinds of puzzles and enemies along the way. We reach up to the point in the game where we need a grappling hook. Luckily for us, Morgana has one for some reason, and gave it to us. So we zip up the tower and continue our exploration. Now, let me just explain something about this footage while it keeps playing. The puzzles in this first few sections aren't hard at all. You really just need to follow around the footsteps and pull a few levers. Some of the puzzles even force you to backtrack a bit, which I'm not a fan of, but I can put that aside since it's a minor inconvenience just for me. We get through the section where we must place the correct books in the correct shelves by category and title before we take a break for a day and continue our infiltration another time since we're running low in supplies. The next day begin like usual, so we don't have to go through it that much. We simply go back to school, attend class, and go back to the palace once school is done. This time, we can fast travel into any of our safe rooms and just continue from there. We find a will seed, which, according to Morgana, only happens when someone's cognitive distortion manifests itself into a seed. I know, it's pretty confusing, but just think of it as someone's desires are so strong, the seed of it sprouts. We take it and continue on our journey. There will be more will seeds, but as far as I'm concerned, there are optional things you can get that will help you in your journey. We reach another section of the castle where the walls are going upwards. After that, we reach the point where we have to cross a bridge. However, it is heavily covered in blades swinging left and right. Remember how I said we need to backtrack? This is what I meant. We march back down the stairs and find whichever guard has the key. Fortunately, a cutscene will play once we find those guards, so we don't actually have to beat every guard into oblivion for it. After getting what we need, we can now go back to the bridge and put a stop to those blades. We reach the main throne room where Kamoshida stands and waits. Of course, we can't fight them now, but we now simply need to find the treasure. All we really did was just walk a few paces until we reach a door where a glowing aura surrounded itself with some gold coins below it. This is the real treasure of Kamoshida that we must steal, but it hasn't manifested yet. So to manifest it, we need to use the calling card. By sending a calling card, his cognitive self will manifest the treasure for us to steal. But before we can do that, we still have a few more days before we should steal the treasure. So for the time being, let us do some social links. Now, I realize that I haven't discussed what social links are, so let's get over that for a moment, shall we? Social links are interactions we can do with certain NPCs to further strengthen our bonds and our persona powers. This is also a good way to learn about some of the characters' backstory and troubles. Essentially, being a friend. Social links themselves can lead to more intimidating moments with characters of the opposite gender, but we can get to that later. The following day, we meet up on the rooftop once more, discussing how are we gonna call Kamoshida with the card. And more importantly, who's going to do it? Ryuji voted himself to do it, since apparently he has a good idea. On being on is skeptical, but we allow Ryuji to do it, because he seems to be eager. The next day, cards are posted all over the school walls about Kamoshida from the Phantom Thieves of Hearts. On commented on how stupid it is, but Kamoshida appeared and is angered by the note, accusing us, but without any real proof, he couldn't do anything about it. His shadow is affected by it, however, so it must have worked. And with that, it's time for our infiltration plan. This is it. After days of infiltrating this palace, securing the route to the treasure, we can now easily go through it without any problems from the beginning. Actually, we're just gonna fast travel there to save some time. We reach over in a fraction of a second towards the treasure room. We see the treasure has manifested into a crown. Morgana becomes tranced by it, so he latches onto the crown. Getting Morgana off, we as thieves began carrying the crown out, but then Kamoshida ambushed us. Apparently, he was waiting for us this entire time and is prepared to kill us. He begins to transform into his true form, a grotesque monster which really symbolizes what kind of person he is. Our attack seems to do nothing towards him, and if we do get him low enough, he just eats out of his chalice, which is disgusting. Morgana advises us to go after the chalice, so we did. We destroyed it, so now Kamoshida can't heal himself up so quickly, beating Kamoshida a few times before he calls in one of his servants. Mishima appears out of nowhere and offers him a ball. Note that this is a fake Mishima, just a cognition of Kamoshida. He is going to do a super attack. Morgana advises us not to attack him, so we all guard, just to prepare ourselves for the attack. He strikes, and we survive. We continue fighting him for a bit before he summons yet another cognitive version of another character we know, Shiho. We can't survive another attack like that, so Morgana suggests we kill off the cognitive version of Shiho. So we did. The fighting continued until Morgana told us we must go in and retrieve the crown from his head, while 3 people distract him. So at first, I sent On because I didn't think it would matter, but then she got spotted immediately, so I sent in Morgana next. This goes on for a while. With 3 to 4 turns, Morgana would move up slightly until he reaches in position. And with that, he jumps off and knocks Kamoshida's crown off. This dazes Kamoshida and leaves him free for us to attack. We finish him off, and he turns back to his normal form, trying to escape without any other way out. On threatens, taunts him before almost killing him with a fire blast. He gives in and gives up, promising that he will change in the real world. As soon as he disappears, his castle shook with him and began to destroy itself from the inside out. We managed to escape with our lives and the treasure, revealing that the treasure was an Olympic gold medal. Apparently, Kamoshida has been holding this on for a while, thinking it as his crown, and he gets to do whatever he wants. And with that, we finish our first infiltration mission. Wow, what a first month we had. We moved in after getting caught a criminal, and now we are saving the school from a criminal. Funny how life works in this game, doesn't it? But this isn't the last adventure we'll have. Later down the line, there will be more and more enemies awaiting for us. So while we wait for those enemies to show themselves, we should do our social links, bring up our stats, and possibly buy more weapons from the store, just to prepare for the future.